Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode. Quick pause before we dive in. If you are ready to start 2026 with real clarity, momentum, you need to join me on January 2nd for the 2026 Energetic Reset. This is a live virtual event that I'm hosting, and we are going to look back at 2025 honestly. We're going to look at the patterns that kept you stuck, the things that worked, the things that did not, and then we're going to map out the energy of 2026 and what you truly want to step into. And then to anchor it all in together, we're going to finish with a powerful Holy Fire Reiki experience to clear the energetic baggage, fears, and old identities that are no longer coming with you. If you're ready for a clean slate, save your spot down in the show notes. Welcome back to another episode of The Worthy Woman. I can't believe we have made it to Christmas. It is December 24th as I'm doing this. And I just can't believe that we're here. We made it. Feels like we made it. We only have a week left of the year. Today's episode is something that I'm really excited to kind of record and talk to you about because I feel like it's relatable to just being at the end of the year and kind of taking some reflection and some time to look at some of the things that I'm going to be letting go of in business in 2026. So I'm not doing this from a place of fixing, but more of I'm trying to release the things that don't feel in alignment, that feel maybe a little outdated, that feel maybe kind of heavy, that I just don't want to carry into this next season of my life and my business, right? And so these are some patterns, beliefs, behaviors that I've either feel like I've processed, outgrown, or I'm actively starting to shift out of. So let's kind of get into it. Some of you might agree or want to write these down for your own sense of self. Number one, I'm going to be letting go of the need to have everything figured out. I feel like I've always tried to kind of control things and know when the next payment's coming through and know that this is going to lead to this and it's going to lead to this. And I think as much as having a plan is obviously important, letting the outcome be what it is something that I'm trying to embrace and step into. And also not let fear get in the way of me feeling like I have to have it all figured out or else it's all going to fall apart, right? And so 2026 for me is really about trusting the clarity that arrives through the movements I take, the energy that shows up, and not this place of pressure, right? And not needing to have every answer before I'm allowed to start things or go for things, right? And so I'm going to be working through this. This is going to be a work in progress, but I feel like I'm already in that space a little bit right now where I'm okay, I might not have it all figured out. I might not know when things are going to show up, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to, right? And so just having a little bit more trust in that process, okay? Number two, kind of ties into this, but I'm letting go of trying to control the outcomes of things, right? So no longer gripping onto much trying to force something to work or again, shape things where the situations in my business, my clients, how much sales I'm making, not trying to make them look a certain way, right? Letting the money come in however it wants to come in, letting the clients who are actually aligned show up instead of trying to control who is in alignment and who's not, right? My business feels so much better when I release the need to control every single outcome. And again, instead I trust this bigger picture of what's unfolding for me, right? So I'm really trying to let go of this confinement, right? Control feels kind of restrictive. And again, structure's okay, but having to control everything and micromanage it is not fun. And it's not the way I want to live my life or my business, right? So number three, I'm letting go of timeline pressure. So I, at times, I feel like I kind of flip-flop. Like sometimes I feel like I'm really ahead of things, of just like people or situations in my life, like I'm ahead of my time kind of thing. But also I also feel behind a lot of the time, right? We want things to happen fast in our business. We compare ourselves to other people's journeys, how successful they are right off the bat. And we feel like that success should take and should look in a specific way by a specific time, right? Like it should take, it's like, okay, I'm going to work on this for the next 3 months and I'm for sure going to have this outcome. Well, sometimes things get in the way. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes you want to start that thing, but maybe the rest of your life isn't really supporting that. So I'm trying to let go of this idea that like I have to have it all done now and I'm running out of time and I don't have enough time. And that if I don't do it by now, it means I'm a failure. I'm letting go of this like expectation that I have for myself. And I feel like this is going to allow that trusting piece to come through, like I mentioned with the last two. But it's also it's going to give me a little bit more space, you know? And this one's a hard one because I feel like this is like really rooted in like other people's opinions and like what people think and society thinks. And I mean, our society and everything moves so fast, right? And so, yes, letting go of the timeline around what I think should happen. And then if it doesn't happen in this timeline, it means I failed. Sometimes it just might not be the right time that something's supposed to pop off, right? So number 4, I'm letting go of the pressure to push harder. My old conditioning loves to say, like I mentioned before, things aren't happening fast enough, which means if it's not happening fast enough and I'm not getting the result, I need to do more. I'm going to try and work. My goal this year is to, when I feel the pressure, like I need to do more, I'm actually going to try to get myself to push, like to pull back, basically. So I'm going to trust that the things that I'm doing are working, even if I don't have the results right now, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, I need this money, I need this outcome, I need to have this, and this, or else it means it's not working. And then when we feel like we're not working, we feel like we have to do more, right? We always try to like overcompensate for what's maybe not happening. And we always think it's based on what we're doing that's the problem. Sometimes it's just who we're being, and sometimes maybe we're in a slower season, and that's just where we're supposed to be, right? And we have to trust that. So I'm letting go of this, like if it's not happening fast enough, I need to do more. That's leaving. And I'm choosing strategy over panic, more intentionality instead of like this urgency and just pushing just to push. And you know, I'm also working on my energy and rather than just like forcing things, right? So really embodying, you know, what I teach all the time, which I am already, but just taking it to that next level and just being very mindful and aware of these things. Kind of tied into number 5 here, I'm letting go of working 24/7. So I'm not wanting to be like on all the time, right? And I love my work. I love working. I am a Capricorn rising, so it's just like ingrained in me. And it's also like a shadow for me is that like I can work and work and work and work and work, and then I burn myself out, and then I end up in this cycle, right? And so this year, part of my schedule is actually changing, but I really want 2026 to feel like I have space. I have space to relax. I don't have to like, oh, I've got my to-do list and it's like a million miles long because I was behind because I didn't have time and space in my schedule, right? So I want this year to have spaciousness. I want it to have moments and afternoons where I can like take a break, and I can just kind of like rest. And that doesn't mean I'm not doing anything this year. It means that I'm being more intentional with my time and my energy and like scheduling things a little bit better. And so I don't feel like I'm constantly having to show up and get a ton of shit done, right? I want my business to actually support me and not just drain me. And I want to have a life outside of my business, right? I want to be able to go to work, love what I do, be successful, help people, and then go home and do whatever the heck I want. Spend time with my family, spend time with my boyfriend, you know, just like, I always laugh when people say like, enjoy my mortgage, enjoy my rent, right? Like I want to enjoy my space. I want to enjoy being at home, watching a good movie, watching a good show, and not feeling like guilty because I've got all this work to do. Number 6 is I'm letting go of limiting beliefs around worth and sales. So, sales and money and those sorts of things, I sometimes question, like, am I good enough, right? Imposter syndrome comes up for everybody. Will people buy from me? Do I really have what it takes to make this work, right? I'm not bringing these beliefs with me. They might try to tag along, but we're moving through them, okay? And we're doing the work, the energy work, the limiting belief work to dissipate them if they start to come up. So I'm replacing them with, again, trust in my gifts, trust in my work, and trust in the woman and the women who are meant to find me, right? Trust in my clients and the people who want to work with me, and trust that those people are there and that there's people just waiting for me to be who I am, right? And to show up, and not to feel like me selling products, services, offers, programs is, a bad thing. So I'm really shifting my identity around sales, and believing that I'm capable of it, right? Believing I'm capable of it, of the goals that I have for my sales, not forcing them, not forcing the outcomes, but knowing that I'm worthy of that, and that when they show up, they will show up when they're meant to. And as long as I do the work, I can't control the outcome. I can just know that I'm there doing what I need to do. Number 7 is I'm letting go of perfectionism. So perfect content, perfect launches, perfect timelines, none of that. I want to start showing up more and more as myself. And this comes into like a little bit of like not being afraid of what people think, some of you might know, depending on who's watching or listening, I should say, that my spiritual side of me, and I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, is like my spiritual side of me is kind of like coming out to play a little bit more. And it always has in my personal life, but in my business and in, my content and my social media, like I want those things to showcase themselves, right? And so I'm letting go of being perfect. I'm letting go of like everything being perfectly curated. Now I might have curated pieces because I like it, but I'm not like not posting things because it's not perfect, right? Same thing with regards to like offers and things like that. Like it doesn't have to be perfect to put it out there. You can always tweak things. You can always change things. You can always add things, right? And so I'm just like letting myself be a human. And people a lot of times appreciate that, right? Because there's not this like pedestal that you get put on. Number 8, I'm letting go of money scarcity and anxious forecasting. So this fear of obviously I'm not enough, this stress around when is the next sale coming in, where is it coming from, where's the money coming from, constantly focused on numbers and notifications. Again, you need to be aware of these things, but the hyperfixation, the stress around it, I don't want that anymore, right? I don't want to be the business owner that's like constantly stressed out about money, right? I want to know that my bank account is full, but I'm also steady and neutral, and I have trust around money. Like I know it'll always show up. And I have been playing with this idea a little bit more recently around how like I know that every time money worries, we'll say, have come up, or big bills or things I want to buy that are big purchases, right? Anytime those things come up, I always somehow have the money for it, right? Like I've never really fully been in like the worst case scenario like some people have, right? Like I'm always like, there's people out there that are in way worse situations than me, And so I think it's also like remembering that, but also remembering that like the money will show up. We have to have that trust, that faith that comes into our energy, our energetics, our openness, our nervous system, and what we're ready to receive. Number 9, I am letting go of comparing my pace to other people. So I mentioned this before around the timeline piece, but just because someone has scaled faster or maybe posts more often or has launched more things, it doesn't mean anything about me and my timeline. And it doesn't mean anything about you and your timeline. So my business is allowed to move at the pace that supports me, supports my lifestyle, my nervous system, my creativity, everything that's going on in my life, right? Like sometimes, again, we've got things that come up and they need to be looked at. And so I'm letting go of comparing my journey and my pace and the speed and growth of my business to other people. Sometimes some of us just have a little bit more to learn than other people. And sometimes, again, there's an alignment, an energetic, a timeline piece that sometimes it's like is our life and are we ready for that jump that we think we're wanting, right? Number 10, I'm letting go of creating content for validation. So no more posting just to be liked. No more shaping my voice to be palatable for people, right? In 2026, I really want to create content because it feels good, it feels aligned. I also want to do more like storytelling because it's true, right? And it serves. I want to do like content that actually, not just because it like performs well, but I want it to be deeply resonant with the people who are following me, who engage with my content, who love my work, right? I'm posting content to serve, and instead of, posting content, it's so easy to get caught up in like the metrics and the views and the this and the likes and whatever else. And I think 2026 is the year where I'm like, I need to grow and I need to scale my business, and I'd like to scale my business, but I also don't want to just like post to post and go viral for something that, has no relevance to what I'm doing, right? Number 11, I'm letting go of undervaluing my work. So this is an interesting one. The work that I do is deep. I don't always like talk in that way because I think in some ways I like to make people understand that it also is quite practical. But sometimes I'm like, I downplay it because it's like, I don't like making guarantees, because the work that you put in is what you're going to get out of it. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're going to make $10,000 a month, It's like, the work that I do, whether it's emotional, energetic, intuitive, my osteopathic stuff, my coaching, it's all valuable. It's all very powerful. And I want to stand fully in that. And this has been definitely increasing with this shift that I've had in the way I feel in my own life. I'm believing in myself more, and I'm believing in my work more. And that I believe is due to the energetic work that I'm doing and that I have done. And I'm not undercutting my offers anymore. Like, I'm not going to downplay what I do. I'm going to stand in it fully and value not only the price of my offers, but also value the depth and the containers that I create for people. Number 12, I'm letting go of the belief that slow seasons mean failure. Slow seasons are necessary. They're integration seasons. They're what also allow us to kind of like recalibrate our energy, recalibrate ourselves, our nervous system. And they're also where our foundation strengthens. Like, it allows us to kind of like, okay, reevaluate, reflect what's been working, what hasn't been working. It allows us to kind of pivot, but also catch up on our sleep, our energy, right? And so I'm letting go of the fear that slow and being slower means that things are failing, or things are worse, or things are going bad, or that, stillness means that there's something wrong, right? And I like to think of it as like the seasons of, the planet, right? We have to have a winter season, right? That allows our plants to, that allows the plants to blossom and to grow. So especially if you're a person who like launches your offers, kind of promote things in little bursts, you're going to have slow seasons. And those slow seasons allow you to dive in more to yourself. They allow you to dive in more to your own self-care, but also even just diving into your current clients and the workload that you currently have, right? Sometimes we need those, quote unquote, slower seasons so that we can immerse ourselves a little bit deeper. And it doesn't mean that we're failing or that we're off track. But I think in our hustle culture that we have, we feel that way because there's this expectation that we're workhorses and we just go all the time, right? So I'm letting go of this belief that having a slow season means that I'm failing at something. So number 13, I'm letting go of saying yes to misaligned opportunities. So I want to let go of like having or feeling like I should say yes to opportunities that kind of drain me, maybe working with people who aren't actually ready. Like I'm not here to force anybody who wants to work with me, right? Moments where I'm maybe saying yes out of urgency, like maybe I need the sales or the money, instead of out of like saying yes out of alignment and feeling like this is a strong connection, right? And so in 2026, I really want my yeses to feel sacred. I want my boundaries clear. I want to protect my energy. I don't want to just be saying yes to things just because I feel like I should, right? I really want to be mindful of not only who I'm working with, but like what I'm doing every day, right? What am I doing? Am I signing up for events I don't really want to go to, right? Because I feel like I should. There is a million and two ways to market a business, and I find sometimes people give advice on what you should do in business, and it's like not always, it's like an old school method, or it's not in alignment with the way you want to do things. And I feel like we need to trust that gut and not fall into our people pleasing tendencies and just say yes to things just because. And I know I can do that at times, and I really want to stop doing that in business. Number 14, I'm letting go of micromanaging the universe. So again, trying to control outcomes, how clients find me, how money comes in, how quickly something grows. I really want to let go and open myself up to receiving things without having to force everything all the time, right? And I want to be able to find safety in this surrender. Surrender can feel challenging because it's like, it feels like we're having to like loosen the grip, and like this unknown force is just going to bring us things and align things and whatever. And I think what I'm going to do is during these moments where I almost maybe feel like I'm micromanaging or feeling like I'm trying to control things, I'm going to revert back to some of my practices, whether that's meditation, the Reiki, breath work, whatever, so that I can recollect my energy, open myself actually up to receive, because again, when we're in this controlling energy, we're constricting, we're not actually open. And I'm going to let that situation unfold the way that it should, right? I'm going to let it kind of happen naturally. And number 15, I am letting go of over-explaining my decisions. I'm not going to explain my pricing. I'm not going to explain why I said no and set my boundaries. I'm not going to explain why I'm choosing a new direction or changing something or wanting to work with certain people, right? In 2026, I want my decisions to be clean, to feel like me, to feel confident, to feel aligned, without having to like over justify or shrink what I want to do because other people are peopling. You know, like I want to be able to step into my decisions with my sense of authority and my knowing that this is for me, and I don't have to justify to anyone else how I'm living my life or what I'm doing, and knowing that the decisions that I'm making are the right ones for myself. So these are the 15 things I'm letting go of as I step into 2026, and it's a lot. They all kind of intertwine, if you have maybe kind of noticed, and I feel like this is what makes me feel like I'm making space for this version of me who leads with trust, who leads with alignment, who leads with their intuition, feels grounded and confident in their decisions and their choices. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, I'm ready to let go of some of these too, like this is 100% what I want too, then it's good to know that both you and I are not alone. If you want deeper support releasing the energetic blocks, the beliefs, patterns, things keeping you stuck or small in your business, my business energetic breakthrough sessions are the easiest way to start this work with me. Like I have mentioned in previous episodes, these sessions, we will spend time on clearing what's blocking you mentally, emotionally, energetically, and then we'll spend actually 30 minutes, like we get clear on what's going on with you, and then we actually spend 30 to 45 minutes doing Reiki to clear out what your body is ready to let go of, so that you can start to show up as the woman that you know you're meant to be in your business and in your life, right? So it's deep work, it's very powerful work, but it is the perfect way to kind of like start 2026 to feel aligned, grounded, and ready to lead yourself differently in this next year. I do also have my January 2nd event, which you guys would have heard about in the beginning of the episode. That is also still around and available. So make sure you guys get your spot before they're out, because I only have a limited amount of spots. The link for that will be down below. Any questions, anything like that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram as always. That link will be down below as well. And as always, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next episode.